Josephine and Jonathan had two kids, Jeremy and Elizabeth. Despite their young age, Josephine often left the kids alone at home to watch movies on TV. She gave them complete control over the television, letting them choose whatever movie they wanted to watch, believing that they were mature enough to make the right choices. Josephine had complete faith in their judgment and trusted that they would never make poor decisions. Her trust in them was so strong that she never questioned what they watched on the television. Her heart swelled with pride as she thought about how responsible her children were becoming. She told herself, "They're growing up fast. I'm lucky to have such mature kids." But what Josephine didn't realize was that her decision to give the children so much freedom would soon have consequences. Consequences that would change the way her children behaved in private. Her husband, Jonathan, had warned her several times about the importance of monitoring what the children watched. He would tell her, "Honey, we need to watch over what they are watching. You can't just let them choose whatever movie they want." But Josephine would dismiss his concerns with a smile, replying, "Honey, the kids are fine. They won't watch anything bad. I trust my kids. They know what's right." Jonathan would shake his head, but didn't press the issue. He trusted Josephine's judgment, but deep down he felt uneasy about leaving the kids to their own devices for long periods. However, he was always busy with work and had little time to supervise their TV choices. And so, Josephine continued to give the children free rein over the television. At first, the kids only watched TV channels featuring cartoons and movies that were appropriate for kids. They stuck to animated series and family-friendly movies, as most children would. Josephine was at ease, knowing they were enjoying wholesome content. But one Saturday, something changed. Josephine and Jonathan left the house as usual. Josephine went to the market to buy new clothes for the kids and pick up food for the family, while Jonathan went off to work just as he always did. It was a quiet morning, and only Jeremy and Elizabeth were at home. The house was still, and the air felt peaceful. Jeremy and Elizabeth, though, were beginning to grow restless. After playing together for some time, the two children grew bored and decided to watch a movie. They made their way to the living room, turned on the television, and sat down, ready to relax. The quiet house, the flickering TV screen, it felt like an adventure in itself. The world outside, with all its rules, didn't exist for them in that moment. As they flipped through the channels, Elizabeth suddenly had an idea. "Hey, Mom always wants us to watch cartoons, but why don't we try something different today?" she suggested, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. Jeremy looked hesitant. "Are you sure? Mom always says cartoons are good for us, and she likes it when we watch those." Elizabeth wasn't about to back down. "Are you not tired of watching the same cartoons over and over again? Come on, we have so many other channels to explore. Let's just watch something new today." Her words were persuasive, and Jeremy couldn't help but be drawn in. They had already watched every episode of their favorite cartoons dozens of times. The idea of watching something different, something new and exciting, was too tempting to resist. With a resigned sigh, Jeremy gave in. And with that, Elizabeth took the remote control from Jeremy's hand and changed the channel to something different. The moment the new channel appeared on the screen, both of their eyes widened in surprise. It was an adult movie, clearly not meant for children. They looked at each other, a bit unsure. What they were seeing felt so different, so forbidden, but they couldn't look away. The curiosity in their eyes grew and their minds raced with questions. Was this really okay? Was this what adults watched? But the children didn't immediately realize the gravity of what they had just done. They were intrigued by the newness of it. Jeremy and Elizabeth sat down on the couch, both captivated by the scenes on the screen. Neither of them understood exactly what they were watching, but the movie seemed to hold their attention like nothing else ever had before. It was a movie where a man and a woman were doing things together that Jeremy and Elizabeth had never seen before. They were confused, but also strangely fascinated. "This channel is kind of fun," Jeremy said quietly, trying to make sense of it all. "I like it too," Elizabeth replied, her eyes glued to the screen. The movie had a certain pull, one that neither of them could resist. As the movie continued, the two children saw more scenes of the man and woman interacting in ways that were completely foreign to them. They couldn't quite understand it, but it seemed to be the kind of thing that adults did, and they couldn't help but watch in silence. The scenes grew more intense, and Elizabeth found herself leaning closer, her curiosity overtaking her. "I like this channel," Jeremy whispered, still trying to process what was going on. "I like it too," Elizabeth agreed, her voice filled with wonder. The shock was starting to fade, replaced by a strange sense of thrill. They kept watching, but soon they began to feel something unusual. It was a feeling they hadn't experienced before, a feeling that was both exciting and confusing. There was something magnetic about what they were seeing, something that made their hearts beat faster. Elizabeth couldn't help but feel a rush of excitement. Elizabeth turned to her brother and whispered in a low voice, "Let's try what that man and woman just did." Jeremy didn't know what to say at first, but after a moment of silence, he simply nodded. Neither of them fully understood what they were doing, but they were curious to try. They decided to mimic what they had seen on the television. The air in the room felt heavy with anticipation. Both of them leaned forward, their faces getting closer to each other. They slowly put their mouths together, just like they had seen in the movie. At first, they both laughed, unsure of what to make of it. It felt strange, like playing dress-up, but with no costumes involved. They pulled away and giggled nervously. "This is weird," Jeremy said, pulling away. His voice trembled a little, unsure of the emotions bubbling up inside him. "I don't know. Let's try it again," Elizabeth insisted, still curious. And so, they tried again. This time, it felt a bit more natural, but they both still didn't quite understand what they were doing. It was as if they were copying the adults on the screen without truly comprehending it. They found it odd, but strangely exciting. They laughed and giggled, feeling both confused and intrigued. But before they could try a third time, they heard footsteps outside. It was their mother, Josephine. Panicked, they quickly turned off the television and grabbed their books. They pretended to be reading as if nothing had happened. The tension in the room was thick, but they hoped Josephine wouldn't notice anything unusual. Josephine entered the house with her shopping bags, looking pleased with herself. She saw the children sitting at the table, reading their books, and smiled with pride. "Good kids," she thought to herself. Little did she know that something had changed inside them that day, something that would affect their behavior going forward. "Well, my little scholars, I'm so proud of you for reading," Josephine exclaimed, impressed by their sudden interest in books. She didn't know that her children had just ventured into something new, something that could have serious consequences if left unchecked. After that day, Jeremy's behavior at school began to change. He started acting differently, especially toward the female students. He would try to get close to them, and sometimes he would even try to kiss them, just like he had seen in the movie. His actions confused the other children, and teachers began to notice the subtle shift in his behavior. When one of the teachers caught him, Jeremy was quick to apologize. "It was just a mistake," he said. "I didn't even know when I did it." The teacher was concerned, but she didn't know how to address it. Jeremy seemed genuinely confused about what he had done, not understanding that it wasn't appropriate. She considered talking to Josephine, but she wasn't sure how to bring it up. This strange behavior continued between Jeremy and Elizabeth. They stopped watching the cartoons channel and began watching the new channel every time their parents were away. Whenever they were alone at home, they would quickly turn on the TV, sneaking around to make sure no one saw them. It became a routine, a secret that was theirs alone. But something unexpected happened one day while they were watching the movie. They saw something even more shocking than before. It wasn't just the man and woman putting their mouths together. This time, they saw the couple do something that truly confused and fascinated them. "Did you see that?" Jeremy asked, pointing at the screen with wide eyes. "Wow, should we try that too?" Elizabeth replied, her face fixed on the screen, unable to look away. They had just witnessed something that was even more adult than anything they had seen before. It was a moment that would stay with them, and they knew they had to try it for themselves. With their minds racing, Jeremy and Elizabeth rushed to their bedroom, eager to replicate what they had just seen on the screen. They were determined to mimic it exactly as they had seen it. To be continued.